afternoon and good evening, wherever you are, colleagues, friends, and fellow partners. My name is Aidan Wood, and tonight I'll be conducting, like we always go and do on a Wednesday night, an opening and verification global unit pay onboarding step-by-step process, which is pretty damn cool. Now, what basically is going to go and happen is I'm going to teach you guys how to go and set up your account from scratch, and then also how to go and get verified without much hassle. If you follow the steps that we've gone and laid out in place, you should have a very seamless process when it comes to onboarding, from setup all the way through to being verified, and then of course being able to use your global unit pay account. And then once we've done the presentation, we'll just have a quick 5-10 minute question and answer time. So if you have any questions at all at any time throughout the webinar, please do drop it down in the Q&A box in the Zoom message, and we will go and attend to that straight after we've done the presentation. But ladies and gentlemen, if I can please go and get some reactions, some pluses in the chat. If you can see me, if you can hear me correctly, there's no issues with internet. We don't have a storm this week, so we shouldn't go and have it cut out halfway through like it did. But can I just get some pluses in the chat, please? Awesome. Thanks, Sachanda. Lovely. Fantastic. So, as I said, my name is Aidan Ward. I'm the project manager assistant for Global Unit Pay, hence why I am here. I am co-host with the Life with the Brothers of Everrich podcast that I go and do with a couple of the Asia Pacific Council members. I also am a member of the Generals of the World for Peace Association, because in my eyes, you can't go and have the new economic evolution of the world without looking for a way to go and make the world a better place in other ways as well. So next slide, please. Marshall's not here today. Do apologize. Here we go. All right. Step one, you'll need to go and hop into your internet browser. Namaste, Sunil. Namaste. You'll need to go into your web browser and log on via www.gtinet.ch. Make sure you do go and copy that in, because if you were to type in globalunitpay.ch or anything else in there, you won't go and get it with this particular website. Okay, so www.gtinet.ch, and then once you've done that, click the open account button, and we'll move on to the next slide. Awesome. So this is a pretty stock standard sort of form that you'll go and see pretty much everywhere with anything that you're looking to join or you're looking to go and be a part of in this day and age. Hence the wonders of the internet. What we're going to go and do is we're going to go and enter in our first name and our last name. Once we've gone and done that, we're going to go and enter in our email that is registered with EvoRich. And there's a big reason for that, and that is so that we can go and get both your Global Unit Pay account and your Everrich back office to go and talk to one another, so that your top-ups can just be done through Global Unit Pay. Your withdrawals, depending on which country you are in, it's all but I think 6 or 7 countries, if I'm not mistaken. But you'll be able to go and withdraw your bonuses from, plugging the multi-level crowd investing aspect into your Global Unit Pay account, which is super cool. That's giving you the now money that we're all desperately in need for. Well, not desperately in need for, but we all do really want. Once you've gone and done the email address that is the same as EvoRich, what you want to go and do is make a password. Now, it can be the same password as your Everrich account. It can be a completely different one, but it must be at least 8 characters in length, have 1 capital letter, 1 numerical digit, and 1 symbol. Okay, so long as they go and meet that criteria, that'll be a valid password. And then all you need to do is just go and move on to this next step here, which is to certify that you are 18 years of age, which for all Global Unit Pay account holders, you do need to go and be 18 years or older. Sorry to all the families who have got, partners who are actually their children under the age of 18 that have already got their bonuses in the back office. You do need to be 18 in order to go and have an account. And the last part is that you're not a robot. It might sound like a silly question, but there is a legitimate reason for it. Because as you probably guess with the certification about being 18 years or older, we want to make sure that every account in Global Unit Pay is active, legitimate, and 1 per person. Okay, and by clicking that you're not a robot, you are indicating that you are in fact a person, that you are legitimate, and that you're not just there to go and pump up the numbers or flood the numbers, because that can go and cause a lot of dramas. You only have to go and look at horror stories for what's happened on the internet in the past. Excuse me, sorry. Once you've gone and done that, and you've gone and indicated that you're not a robot, that you are 18 years of age or older, and you filled in the form as above, you just have to click that big blue button that says create an account. Next slide, please. Okay, so I want to draw your attention to a couple of things that you'll go and see throughout this process. Okay, anytime that there is a big blue button, that is to go and indicate that there is a call to action. That is the next call to action. So if you go and see, this big blue button here that says go to my profile, well, you're not going to go up to the top of the page and click where it says exchange, right? Because you need to go and verify your account. It needs to go and be activated, and it needs to be primed and ready to go. So that's where I'll draw your attention to, is that big banner that says up the top, your account is not active. Please verify your profile. And then once you've gone and acknowledged that, you just have to click that big blue button that says go to my profile. But before we move on to the next slide, I will just draw your attention that if at any time you need to go and contact our support team, who work long and hard and diligently to go and address every single member's query as best and as efficiently as possible. All you need to do is just go and email info@globalunitpay.ch. That'll put through to the administration team, and then depending on what your inquiry is, they can then go and forward that straight through to the correct department. That way we're not confusing emails. It's simpler for you, it's simpler for us, and it's simpler for everybody. Okay, so if you want to go and make a note of that, info@globalunitpay.ch, that's the email to go and get in contact with if ever you need our support. Next slide, please. Cool. Now, this isn't a necessary step. It is completely up to you whether you go and undertake this or not. But once you've clicked that go to my profile button that we just went and did, you'll have the choice where it says displayed currency out of choosing Euro, US dollars, or Swiss franc. You can go and swap that around at any given time. It's just a matter of preference. We will go and have more fiat currencies available going forward into the future, but at the moment it's just Euro, USD, and Swiss franc. So as you can see, I've selected USD. I don't really do it in euros myself, excuse me. And we'll move on to the next slide. Cool. So there we go. We see a big blue button that says verify your email. And below that, you can go and see the buttons that haven't yet become active. So this is the one that we're going to go and draw our attention to first, is to verify your email. This is probably the easiest step throughout the whole process. You just click that blue button. Next slide, please. Yeah, and what that'll do is once you've gone and clicked that blue button, that will automatically go and send you an email to the email address that we've went and put in at the very first step. Okay, so you don't have to go and click the blue button that says resend unless it hasn't gone and arrived into your email already within 1 to 2 minutes. Just make sure that you are checking your primary email box, your promotions, and of course your spam as well. Especially if you're a Gmail holder, sometimes they can go and wind up in any and every inbox. So if you can't see it for whatever reason, just hit that resend button just to go and be twice as sure. Okay, next slide, please. Cool. Now, when we are checking our email to go and make sure that the verification emails has come through, we want to go and look for the heading account created successfully. Welcome to Global Unit Pay. Okay, so that's the subject matter. That's your big ticket for knowing what you're actually looking for. And once you've gone and located it, open up that email and just draw your attention to the blue link that I've got the big red arrow pointing to. What that is your confirmation link. So you can either click that link or you can go and copy it and paste it into another window in your browser. Completely up to yourself. Personally, for my own preference, I'll just go and click the link. It's just a lot easier. Next slide, please. Cool. See, told you, one step already done. Next, we want to go and verify our phone number. So we'll click that big blue button, verify your phone. Next slide, please. And what we want to go and do is we want to enter in our country code. Now, depending on where, well, every country's got a different country code. You only have to hop into Google. If you don't know what your country code is, type in the country that you live in, country code, it'll pop up straight away. Okay, but when we are entering in our email, our phone number, sorry, is that we go and take the country code, and then we remove the first zero. Okay, I believe that every single mobile phone number in the world starts with a zero, but to go and have it a globalized number, it would be plus then your country code, remove the zero, and then enter in the rest of your digits as you normally would that indicate your phone number. Does that make sense? Can I get some ones in the chat if that all makes sense? Lovely. Thank you, Krishna. You absolute legend. Awesome. Cool. So once we've gone and entered in our mobile number, we click that blue button that says verify, and we move on to the next slide. Cool. Now, similar sort of thing that we did to the email verification. We're going to go straight back into our emails and look for the subject heading phone number added. Okay. Now, that's not going to go and send you a text or a notification to your phone. What that's going to go and do is give you the mobile number that you've gone and added to your Global Unipay account. It's then going to go and show you your IP address, the name of the device that you went and used to go and register, and also the time when your number was verified, which I think is a nice little touch. It goes and shows you that we are all about authenticity and making sure that every account is 100% legitimate, so that you have that security in mind to know that this project isn't going to go and just fall off the radar because somebody's gone and because we've gone and done the wrong thing. We've made double, triple, quadruple sure that this project, while it is taking a little bit longer to go and become fully fledged active like we've gone and envisioned, we're making sure that all of the foundations are set up secure, tight like Fort Knox, so that we can go and be a long-term project rather than just a flash in the pan. Okay, next slide, please. Cool. So we've already verified our email. We've already verified our phone. What we're going to go and do now is we're going to submit our identity information. Now, that might sound a little bit scary, but it's super, super simple. All you need is a active webcam, one that works, and of course, a identification document. Next slide, please. Okay. So yeah, as you can see, you need to make sure that your webcam is working, and you need to have a valid photo ID document. Okay, so once you've gotten that all ready to rock and roll, you know that your webcam's fully functional, and you've got your photo ID. Awesome. We'll click that blue button that says Start Verification. Next slide, please. Hey, there we go. Oh, awesome. Now, for this step, what we're going to do is our webcam is going to go and scan our facial features. Okay, you will have a countdown. Once you click that blue button that says Start Video Recording, there will be a 5-second countdown. And the movement that you want to go and do is stare directly at the camera. And then you'll have 10 seconds to go and do the following movement. And what I like to do is 3 to the right, 3 back, 3 to the left, and then 1 back to the middle. Okay, so we'll go and imagine that we've gone and hit the blue button. 5, 4, 3, 2, and then 1. And then we're just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10. And then that will go and scan both your left side, your right side, and also the front of your face as well. And that's all that the KYC and KYB team actually need from you. It's just to go and make sure that the person in front of the webcam is actually who matches on the photo ID, which we go through to the next step. Cool. Awesome. Next slide, please. Lovely. Okay, so the first step for your ID is you have to nominate the country of where your document was issued. Okay, the reason behind this is that different countries have got different understandings for what is considered a primary form of identification. Okay, so in some countries, it might just go and be passport or identity card. Other countries like Australia, it also includes our driving license. There might be countries that only go and accept passport. You know, it really depends on where you are. That's why, as a rule of thumb, we always encourage people to go and use their passport so long as that the identification document is within 6 months of expiry. Okay, so if you would go and see it to be valid within the next 6 months, or sorry, longer than 6 months, then it is a valid document. If it goes and expires within the next 6 months, then you will need to go and seek out another form of identification or get an update to the identification document that you actually have already. Okay, awesome. So once we've gone and selected what identity document it is and also the document country of issue, we're going to go and click that blue button that says I confirm my identity. Okay, next slide. Cool. So similar sort of thing that we went and did with the webcam scanning our face. We have two options, all right? The first one is to go and do a similar one. So what you'll do is you'll get the ID and you'll hold it towards the camera, right? Make sure that the window that the screen actually goes and shows, you know, the document goes and fits inside. Keep in mind that our KYC team is, and that's Global Pass for anybody who knows, right? Global Pass, you know, are a legitimate personnel team. Okay, so there are people who actually go through every single process, every single account, every single verification, just to make sure that you are who you say you are, that you are the right person, so that everything's, once I said, sorry, once again, I did go and iterate that it is secure and safe so that it's a long-term project. Now, if you're not comfortable with the photo that your webcam has gone and taken of the document, then you don't need to stress, okay? You can go and take a picture with it on your phone, and that little button down the bottom left-hand corner that says upload your photo. What I personally went and did was, because my webcam is rather old, it comes out with a little bit of cloud sometimes. So I wasn't too happy with the light glare. I wasn't too happy with the details that were getting blurred. I also have a little bit of shaky hands, so it wasn't the best photo. So what I did is I took a photo on my phone of the ID. I then went and emailed it to myself, logged in on my laptop, and then uploaded the photo via this button here. And that made everything so much easier. I was able to go and get a picture of the document, both front and back, because you will need to go and do that, both front and rear. I was able to go and get a picture that was clear. Everyone could go and read the details. They could go and verify me, and that's why I was verified, locked and loaded within 48 hours. Just to give you an idea, okay? Next slide, please. And as you can see here, there's a perfect example, right? So once you've gone and uploaded both the front and the rear copies of your photo ID, I went and did my Australian driver's license because that was what considered a primary form of identification. All I went and did was just make sure that the both photos were clear. I could understand it. If I can understand it, I know somebody else is going to understand it. And then all you have to do is just click that blue button that says submit for a final approval. Next slide, please. Cool. So for this next couple of slides, all we're doing is we're transferring the information on our ID that we've just gone and uploaded into a written form. Okay, so you're going to go and select whether you're a Mr. or a Ms. You're next going to go and enter in your date of birth. And keep in mind that you'll need to go and have it follow the format that it goes and suggests. So if it says date first, then month, then year, you'll go and do date, then month, then year. If it says month, then date, then year, you'll go and do it the month, followed by the date, followed by the year. And in rare examples, which you'll go and see later on in the presentation, there are some instances where, you know, it'll be the year first, followed by the month and then the date. So just keep in mind what the format is so that there aren't any questions raised as to why did you go and enter in the wrong date of birth, So once we've done our DOB, all we need to do is just enter in our given names per the identification document that we've gone and provided, followed by our surname that appears on the ID. Once again, I'll just iterate that the information we are entering in here needs to match the ID that we've gone and provided, a couple slides ago. Okay. Can I please get some reactions? Let's go for fours. Can I get the number 4 in the chat if you understand where I'm coming from with this? That we need to go and make sure that the information from our ID is the information that we are entering in here. Can I please get some fours, ladies and gentlemen? Okay. Once we've gone and done our surname, of course, we're going to go and choose the document issue state. So you're going to go and put in your citizenship. Okay. Typically, these forms of document, you have to go and be a citizen in order to go and have, in some respect. Okay. So you'll go and choose your citizenship. Awesome. Fantastic. Thank you so much, guys. And then after you've done citizenship, you'll just enter in the expiration date of the photo ID you've gone and provided. Okay. And then once you've done that, just click that blue button or the gray button that'll go and appear blue that says next, and we'll move on to the next slide. Next slide, please. Hey, there we go. Lovely. And for this last part, all we need to do is just transfer the address that is on our ID into this form. Okay. So even if you've gone and changed address over the years, so long as the address in this box here matches the one that's on the ID that you've uploaded, then we'll be good. Okay. Awesome. So once you've done that, click the blue button that says next, and we'll move on to the next slide. Awesome. Okay, fantastic. So we're 3 down, 2 to go. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I will just go and draw your attention before we go on to the next part. Okay. You'll go and see that we've got our email verified, our phone number has been verified, and our identity information has been forwarded through to the KYC team so that they can go and process, verify, and make sure that everything's all good. Okay. This next part is more going to be about, who you are currently. It's also going to go and be about, the purpose of what you're going to be using your global unit pay account. And it's just basically information for our anti-money laundering officer, just to make sure that it is being used for the right reasons, and that there's no money laundering, there's no, suspicious activity, there's no illegal activity, which involves global unit pay, that sort of thing. And so long as we're using it for the right reasons, that's going to allow us to continue doing what we're doing and having this amazing platform for generations to come. It'd be pretty cool that, in 40, 50 years time, you can turn around and say, oh, I was one of the first people who had the global unit pay account when everybody has one. That's going to be incredible to go and say. Okay. So we'll move on to the next slide. We'll click that blue button that says submit form, and we'll get to the next step. Thank you. Okay, cool. So if you went and chose to use your passport as your form of ID that you went and uploaded, this next step is going to be very, very easy for you because all the information is right on there. Okay, so if you haven't had to go and dig out the the passport, all you need to do is just enter in your first name, then followed by your last name, any former names if you have. And when you are entering in any former names, that is to say that maybe the ladies have been married, they've taken their husband's name, but their passport goes and says their married name, but they've gone and had maiden names. This is going to go and help our anti-money laundering officer know who they're actually dealing with. Okay, so you go and enter in your former name, the full name, so your first name, any middle names, followed by your surname. Same goes for any other names. If for whatever reason you've had a legal name change, then that's where you would go and put in over here where it says other names as well. All right. And then finally, we'll go and put in the personal identification number. Now, I had a question about this today where someone was getting a little bit confused about this. Whenever it goes and says personal identification number, it's referring to the unique code / number for the document that you've gone and uploaded. Okay, so my driver's license that I went and uploaded, top right hand corner, bang, personal identification number. With passport, it's going to be completely different, but you'll know it when you see it. You'll know what your personal identification number is based on the document that you've gone and provided. Okay. And finally, we're going to go and put in date and place of birth. Once again, if you've got your passport, it's going to make it very, very easy for you. Go and enter in your date of birth, the format, as it's gone and asked, year first, followed by the month, then the date. Then you go and enter in the city where you were born, followed by the country. Okay? Beautiful. Next slide, please. Okay, so this next step is going to go and relate to the last step, which we will get to in a short while. What you want to go and do is you want to enter in the residential address that you are at currently, because later on you will need to provide a proof of address document that is valid within the last 3 months. Okay, and I'll get to what sort of document you will need to go and provide for that to go and be verified and valid. All right, so you just enter in your current residential address with the city, the country, and also the zip or postal code. Excuse me, sorry. If you have an alternative address for mailing or other purposes, feel free to go and click the yes box and then indicate. You'll just need to go and repeat that step that we've just gone over. Otherwise, if your residential address is the same as your billing address or mailing address or what have you, all you need to do is just go and click no, and we'll move on to the next slide. Lovely. Awesome. So for all you dual citizens out there, this is going to be one of your favorite slides, I can already tell. What you want to go and do is you want to go and enter in your primary citizenship first off. Okay, so if you went and used say an Australian document, right? You used an Australian passport, but you have citizenship over in the UK as well, but you haven't been in the UK for the last 10 or 15 years. You'll go and do the Australian first, followed by the UK. So you'll go and you have to enter in your country, followed by the document type, and there'll be a drop-down menu. You'll need to go and provide, once again, that document number, that personal identification number. And then finally, the expiration date of that document. Now, don't quote me on this, but with passports, I believe it's 10 years before they go and expire. Just make sure that it is within, once again, that 6 months. If you can't find the expiration date for the passport, then all you need to do is just look for the date of issue and then plus another 10 years onto it. Okay. And of course, if this doesn't go and apply to you, if you only have the one country of citizenship, you don't need to go and enter in the second step. Okay. And following on, this last part is super, super simple because we've already gone and done it. Okay, so if you have a landline and you want to go and record your telephone number, you're more than welcome to go and do a telephone. I don't know a lot of people who still have landlines. I think they are a little bit obsolete in this day and age, but you'll enter in your country code, followed by the area code specific to your country, and then following on with the number. So if you are still a little bit confused about the country code, we went and did that right at the very start. So it should be in your Google history. Same thing with your mobile number. It's just the same number that we went and used to go and verify it right at the start of the presentation. And email address is the exact same as what we went and did right at the very start. Okay, next slide, please. Okay. This is the slide that went when the storm went and blew over and we lost all power last week. So I'll go extra slow and I'll go and double down and make sure that that this is understood for everybody. Now, as a matter of any conflict of interest, you're not allowed to go and have a global unit pay account if you are currently a politically exposed person or a relative of a politically exposed person. Okay, and that goes for siblings, parents, children, spouses, um, persons with whom children have registered partnership with. It pretty much any form of relative of a politically exposed person, unfortunately, isn't eligible to actually have a global unit pay account. Now, this is just to go and make sure that we're protecting ourselves, that there's no conflict of interest, that once again, money laundering is not happening at all, because you only have to look through the history books and go and know that absolute power corrupts absolutely. So this is just our safeguard to make sure that, once again, we can go and be a long-term project for generations rather than just a flash in the pan. Okay, so if you're not a currently politically exposed person or a relative of a politically exposed person, you just have to go and click no. But of course, please do be honest, because if it ends up going pear-shaped because someone's gone and clicked no when they should have gone and clicked yes, then it's not going to be great, you know. So please do be honest. If you are, click yes. If you're not, then no. Awesome. Then once you've done that, you will just need to go and read this this last, I suppose, disclaimer to go and confirm that the information you've provided above regarding the PEPs is correct and accurate to the best of your knowledge at the time and date of submitting the application form. That should there be any changes to the information provided above, do undertake the legal responsibility and appropriate actions to inform Global Unit Pay of any such changes in writing immediately. Also, just understand that providing false information on this form constitutes a criminal act, where such forgery may be subject to either a fine or imprisonment of up to 5 years. So that's how serious it is. Am I understood? I'll get some pluses in the chat, please, ladies and gentlemen. You really need this slide to go and be acknowledged, that everyone goes and understands. Awesome. All right, cool. Next slide, please. Lovely. Okay, cool. Now that we've gotten out of the heavy sort of stuff, let's just go back to, filling in the appropriate information. Yeah, the nice and easy part of the form. Now, this is where you're going to go and enter in your tax details per the country of residence. Okay. So your primary jurisdiction is where you're going to go and say, in my case, Australia is the primary jurisdiction. It's the country where I reside. It's where I go and work as well for tax purposes. Once I've gone and entered in the country of residence, I'm then going to go and enter in my tax number. Now, when it says TIN, it's not referring to, for US citizens, or US residents, their tax identification number is known as a tax identification number. Whereas in other countries, like Australia, for example, it's called a tax file number. Okay. So it's not specifically about, oh, well, I'm not a US citizen, therefore, or a US resident, I don't work there for tax purposes, therefore I don't have to supply this information. It's not that at all. You do need to provide your tax identity, in this space here. Of course, if it's not available, there is a little box just to the right-hand corner, top right-hand corner, that says TIN unavailable. And then you will have to go and specify, if you've clicked that box, the reason for the unavailability of your tax file number or tax identity number. Okay. Once you've done that, and you've either entered in your tax number or you've gone and provided a reason why you don't have a tax number provided, all you have to do is just click one of the three that go and best suit your situation. Okay. A, that you confirm that you're a US citizen or resident in the US for tax purposes. B, if you were born in the US but are no longer a US citizen or resident, as you voluntarily surrendered your citizenship, as evidenced by attached documents, which is why you would go and specify, in other documentation. Or C, confirm that you're not a US citizen or resident in the US for tax purposes. So it's whether you are in the US for tax purposes, whether you were born as a US citizen but are no longer there anymore, in which case you would have gone and provided other details and other information previously to go and evidence that, and C, if you're not a US citizen or resident. Okay, so just click one of those three and we'll go on to the next slide. Cool. Now, I really want to go and stress out that these next few slides is about providing our anti-money laundering officer as much information as true and correct at the time of this setup and verification process as you humanly can. Okay, so they want to have the information about the sources of where your funds are going to be from going into your global unit pay account. Okay, so whether it's your salary, if you're still employed and you're only doing this as a little side thing, if you've got savings that you're wanting to go and put into your global unit pay account, whether you have securities, pensions, social benefits, real estate being sold, self-employment, loans, borrowed funds, scholarships, income from other family members or close relatives, winnings such as the lotteries or big bets, or if none of those go and apply as well, and you can think of another one, then click other and indicate. Okay, it's really important that we are giving as much information as we possibly can. And this is just to make sure that it's all clean money. It's not dirty. It's not being used for, nefarious purposes or any of the sort. All right. So click as many as you possibly can that go and suit your situation. And then when you move on to the right-hand side of this page, you only need to go and click the one which best suits your current situation, which is whether you're employed, whether you're a student, whether you're self-employed, whether you're unemployed, or if there's another that that hasn't been indicated here that you feel goes and matches a little bit better, indicate in the space. Okay, awesome. Next slide, please. Lovely. Okay, so once again, we're going to provide as much information as we possibly can to the AML officer. All right. So the purpose of opening an account, you can go and tick all these boxes if it goes and applies to you. You can tick one if it goes and applies to you. Okay, so any household expenses, I would imagine that'd be a big one. Loan payments could go and be another big one for a lot of users of Global Unit Pay. Personal expenses, business-related expenses, especially if you are opening a business Global Unit Pay account, any foreign transactions or foreign exchange, all of that. Tick as many of the boxes as you possibly can that you can go and see as being a purpose of using the account. All right. And then once you've done all of that, you just have to go and enter in your bank name and the country of your bank where you will be transferring funds into your Global Unit Pay. Okay, so of course, if you do have more than one bank, then provide in the space also below the bank name and also the country as well, just so that they can go and have that heads up and they can go and expect that, oh, okay, they've gone and moved say $30,000 into their Global Unit Pay account from what bank? Yep, okay, that's the XYZ bank. Well, they've already gone and put it in their form. We already know about that, and we can just go and do a big green tick. Do you get me? I'm going to assume yes. Awesome. Next slide, please. Okay, so for this, we're just going to go really quickly, really rapid fire. Okay, so the first one, countries from which the funds will go and be received. You only need to go and indicate the countries from where banks will, from where the funds will be going into your Global Unit Pay account. Okay, so wherever the banks are going to be sending through, you just have to indicate the country where that bank is from. Cool, awesome. Moving on to the next part, which goes and says countries to which funds will be transferred. Very similar. Where you'd be sending money from your Global Unit Pay account to whichever bank. Okay, so you just Once again, go and enter in the country from which your funds will go and be transferred out of your global unit pay into. Yes? Beautiful. Services that you plan to go and use. I would imagine that everybody would be ticking all three of these boxes. Are you going to be using it for currency exchange? I would think so. Is it going to be for money transfers? That's pretty much the core focus of global unit pay. Excuse me. And also payment and electronic money account. Once again, I would imagine everybody would be ticking all three of those boxes. Yes, fantastic. And finally, the last two questions, monthly turnover of funds in account. Now, this is just what you have a global unit pay account, whether it is less than €1,000 a month, whether it's between 1,000 and 5,000 euros a month, whether it's between 5,000 and 10,000 euros a month, or whether it's between 10,000 and up to 50,000 euros a month. Whichever goes and matches your situation right now is the one that you go and tick. I would probably imagine that between, either €1,000, well, I mean, all of them, it just depends on the person who's using their global unit pay account, but you only need to select one. And the last question for this particular slide is, will your first deposit into your account exceed 15,000 euros? Once again, this is just to go and calm down the anti-money laundering officer, so that if you are going to go and put a huge lump sum as your first deposit, you've already indicated it here. Okay, you can go and deposit as much or as little as you like into your global unit pay account, ladies and gentlemen. You do not have to go and enter in an astronomically sized deposit. You don't need to go and put in a minuscule amount. It's completely up to you. But if you do intend on having the first deposit exceed 15,000 euros, please indicate here and indicate the source from where those funds were from and they're now going to. Understood? Lovely. Next slide, please. Okay, so we need to go and make sure that we are the beneficial owner of the account and of the funds in the account, and that you act on your own behalf. Remember how we were going back at the very start of this presentation, and I said that we want to make sure that all accounts are authentic, that they are one for one, and that they are for yourself. This is where we would go and indicate that as well, and make that a continuous sort of trend. Of course, there are going to be rare examples where you might be acting on behalf of someone for whichever reason. Power of attorney might be one. There are a couple other legal roles that a trusted loved one can actually go and use as a third party sort of. I would go and say guidance, to go and make sure that I suppose guardian would be the better question, the better answer for that, the better word for it. So you need to just either indicate that you are the beneficial owner, or if you aren't and it's for a loved one, that you go and indicate and fill out the questionnaire of the ultimate beneficial owner as well. Understood? Lovely. Finally, we're just going to go and click that. We're going to go and read through this disclaimer here, okay? And we need to go and make sure that we are reading it 100%. We understand what's actually going on. It goes and says, I confirm that the information provided in this questionnaire is true and correct. I confirm that I am not engaged in any criminal activity, including but not limited to tax offences, and undertake to use the company services only for legitimate purposes. I am aware that the submission of incorrect, erroneous information or usage of the services for illegal activities may lead to unilateral termination of the account. I understand to forthwith notify in writing of any changes in the information provided. I am aware that the pursuant to regulatory bodies international treaties and agreements and the legislation of the European Union regarding the automated exchange of information of financial accounts. The appropriate instructions as determined by regulations may be informed. I confirm that I have read the declaration and the express consent document regarding personal data and permitted disclosure. Please do read this information. It's really important that we aren't just, clicking, buttons without reading disclaimers and whatnot. So just do take the due diligence to read through all this, especially because, you might not be operating from Switzerland. In fact, I would imagine most of us are not in Switzerland, and therefore there are different rules and different laws and different legislation that we need to go and be aware of. Once you've gone and done that, click the blue button that says submit. Next slide, please. Okay, so we've gone through that disclaimer already. We just clicked that blue button that said submit that you can go and see. But what happens is that when you click the submit button, it will go and pop up with this extra box, okay? You will need to click another blue button that says request code via email. Now, you need a verification code in order to proceed to the next step. It is not going to be sent automatically to your email as soon as you click submit. So you need to go and click this extra button that says request code via email. Marshall said a few presentations ago that he knew of a number of circumstances where people hadn't been verified. They got down to this last step, and they couldn't go and find the verification code. The issue? They didn't go and click the request code via email. Okay. I know it sounds silly, but it's just one of those things that some people can go and miss at times. And we're not going to hold it against them, but make sure that you click this blue button. Okay, so hit request code via email. We'll move on to the next slide, please. Lovely. So just like we did with our phone verification and our email verification, we're going to go over to our emails, and we're going to go and look probably in the same email box that we went and found all the other correspondence for verification code for global unit pay. And in there, right in the first line, it goes and says global unit pay operation verification code, and then 6 digits. They will not be those same 6 digits. Okay, so you can't just go and note it in as like, oh yeah, I've got it. I just watched Aiden's presentation. No, yours will be unique. Okay, so once you've gone and copied that 6-digit code, next slide please, we're going to go back to that last step where the box above where we requested the code is going to go and ask for it. So we just have to paste it in there, and then finally click the big blue button that says submit. Next slide, please. Awesome. Oh, that is the bulk of it. That's the hardest part of this presentation, ladies and gentlemen. It's really important that we are super particular and we are super correct with any information that we are providing in the individual's application form, and of course the identity information. Okay, otherwise there will be an email or a message to me saying, Aiden, I still haven't been verified. It's been months. And why is that? You've gone and entered in the wrong information. You get me? So please do make double sure, make triple sure that the information that you are providing is true, correct, and per the documents as the governments know you, and then of course how the documentation knows you. Cool? Lovely. Last part. We're going to go and click that blue button that says submit files. Now, next slide, please. So back when we were entering in, I believe it was the first part of the individual's application form, and it was asking for our residential address per the proof of address document provided. This is the proof of address document we need to go and upload. Okay. Now, there are a number of options. I want to go and reiterate that the utility bills, the bank statements, or the post office savings account statements all need to go and be within 3 months. Okay, they need to be valid, and they need to be like, I wouldn't even do 3 months. I would do 2 months just to be sure. All right. So you have a couple of options. You can go and do a utility bill, whether it's gas, electricity, water, phone, you name it. If it's got your residential address on there, awesome, fantastic. You can choose a bank statement or a post office savings account statement. Once again, within 3 months, and it needs to go and be the original document. Okay, no screenshots of screenshots of screenshots. You would be surprised how often that goes and happens. We want the original PDF or JPEG format, and all bank statement pages if you are choosing the bank statement, but it can't go and exceed 10 megabytes. Are we understood? Can I please grab some pluses in the chat if you understand that we need to make sure that, once again, it's visible, that it's all within 2 to 3 months, and what documents are accepted? Cool. Oh, one more thing. Sorry. The documents issued by the government or the country that you reside in. Okay, so if you were to go and say get a correspondence from your tax office and it has your address on it, that would be a legitimate document. If it is a tax return and it has your address onto it, if it has basically anything that's been issued by the government or the country that you reside in, this is a legitimate document that you can go and use. Once again, we go and ask original PDF or JPEG format, and that it doesn't exceed 10 megabytes. Done. Once you've gone and uploaded the files, as you'll go and see with the big orange box, that blue button or that gray button that says submit details will highlight in blue, which means that we are officially done. Okay, so we'll go on to the next slide. Awesome. Now, before we get into the question and answers, I do just want to draw your attention to one thing. In your Global Unit Pay dashboard, you will go and see your name pop up. Okay. Now, very, very soon, within the next week or two, I'm going to go and have a functional tour of the Global Unit Pay back office presentation, kind of like this one. So 1 week, we are going to go and have the setup and verification. The following Wednesday will go and be how to actually navigate and what you can actually go and do with your Global Unit Pay account. All right. Now, the most important, I suppose, part of your Global Unit Pay account would be your unique user identification number. As you can go and see, I've gone and pictured that as the arrow number 1. Do note that that is going to be your bread and butter. That is how you go and get your funds from the EverRich back office into your Global Unit Pay account. That's how you can go and transfer from peer to peer. It is a very crucial bit of information. It's not sensitive, so you can go and show anyone and everyone, because that's how you go and send and receive transfers between Global Unit Pay accounts, and once again also getting Everrich and Unitex to actually go and talk to each other. All right. And the final part I want to draw your attention to is the support messages that I've gone and put in at number 2. Anytime you go and get a correspondence from support, it'll go and highlight as boom, you've got mail, number 1. That's where all your correspondence, all your threads, all your support tickets, basically any actions that needs to go and be taken by yourself or by support is going to be in that inbox. Awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that goes and wraps us up for another presentation on how to go and get set up and verified. Next slide, please. We want to thank you for your patience. Now, I haven't gone and seen any questions in the question and answer box, ladies and gentlemen. Did you want to just take another 30 seconds to 1 minute as to entering any questions if you do go and have them? I'm happy to go and answer that Unitex is able to go and be paired to Global Unit Pay as of the last month, which is fantastic. In order to go and do that, all you need to do is go into your Unitex account. If you are looking to go and deposit any funds into your Unitex account or withdraw, it'll go and ask you if you want to go and pair your Global Unit Pay account with your Unitex. Then you just have to go and enter in that unique user identification number. And then it's all done. It takes literally 30 seconds. It's amazing. The second thing I'll go and mention, which wasn't able to go and be spoken about last week. I'm not sure if Valentin went and covered it after my feed went and cut out, is that this is pretty much critical mass right now. Like, there are so many changes that are happening. There's been a new design in the back office, which is so exciting, and it's so smooth. Like, when you go and log in, you'll be like, wow, that is clean. And it's super accessible. It's really user-friendly as well. So we're very fortunate to go and have that. I know the cards question is going to go and pop up. I cannot go and report any changes to the information that has already been provided so far. No questions whatsoever? Any in the other rooms?
Aidan, we have a question. Could you please tell us how to transfer USDU from my wallet to the Global Unit Pay account?
Yeah, okay. So all you need to do is convert your USDU into USD or Euro via your Unitex. And then from there, just withdraw option in your exchange tab in Unitex. Select your global unit pay, pair it if you need, and if you haven't already, and then it should just go straight through. So all you need to do, convert your USDU into your USD or Euro, because those are the two available currencies, and Swiss franc. The Unitex and Global Unit Pay actually go and share. And then from there, all you need to go and do is just withdraw into your Global Unit Pay account via Unitex. Is there any other questions?
So far, no.
Quiet night. Okay. Will Marshall. All right. I was told not to reapply for an account. What other options are open to me? Okay, so the correspondence that you received through Global Unit Pay support, there's usually instructions as to what to do. Now, you'll go and see this message if you've already gone and set up a Global Unit Pay account, and then you've gone and tried to do another one. Remember, Will, we actually we want to go and have all accounts as one for one. So if there is a duplicate, you will go and receive an email from support saying exactly that. Please don't reapply for another account. So what I would go and do is log into your Global Unit Pay that you originally set up, and then go and speak with support by info@globalunitpay.ch. Note down your unique user ID. Take a screenshot of any information relating to the problems, and then just instructions. And then what that'll do is get forwarded through to the right department. They'll be able to go and liaise, and hopefully that goes and gets sorted for you. I hope that answers the question. Thanks, Will. Okay, we had another question. Pensioner and not taxable. Is this statement sufficient? I'm a pensioner and not taxable. Is this statement sufficient? I would imagine so. Yes, because if you're not being subject to any tax, I suppose, obligations, then all you would need to go and do is just prove that you're a pensioner. Therefore, you wouldn't have to go and pay tax. That would be my my guess. I'm not sure what it is over in other countries, but that's the case over in here in Australia. Is there any other questions at all?
Yes, we have a question in the Spanish room. If a bank does not provide a statement with the address and a person doesn't pay any utility bills in the place where he resides, what are other options, other documents to be used to confirm his address of residence?
Any correspondence from the government. So if you go and receive any documentation to your residential address that you're at currently now from the government, that would go and be sufficient evidence to go and show, because then there's no actual time limit. Like, you don't have to go and have that as a 2 or 3 month valid document, because it's coming directly from the government. I hope that goes and answers the question. So anything from the government, so long as that address that they go and have on their system matches the same residential address that you're at now, it should be right as rain. Okay. No more questions? All right, beautiful. That's awesome. Thank
No,
you.
Aiden, there
Yep.
is a question from the Italian room.
Okay, you just muted yourself.
So the Italian partner is asking, is it possible to update the instructions that were posted earlier, because there are a lot of changes, and this way you may simplify the life of our partners?
Yes, we are in the process of that. This week has been primarily about getting the functional webinar, like the back office tour, to go and be up and running. So that will come out in the next couple of weeks. Once that is complete, which is just about done, I'll then be moving on to another more updated in the new back office setup and verification webinar. So these slides will be redundant very, very shortly. Okay, last question from Michael in the English room. I had a relation who served a short term in government for 10 years, but is no longer in government. Does that amount to political exposure? I had a relation who served a short term in the government. Michael, could you please, I'm going to go and just send you a message here. Can you please email me at this email address, just explaining that, and I will get back to you within the next day or so. Hang on. I'm just typing it out now for you, mate. All right. If you can go and email me there, just explaining everything, I'll go through the politically exposed information with you once more, just in depth, just so that we can go and make sure that that's all sorted. Okay, awesome. All right, guys, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much.
Aiden, wait a minute, Aiden, there is one more question. Look,
okay,
if I am a housewife, but I have no income streams, but I have my CIUs, what should I indicate in the field of employability? I'm not employed, I'm not self-employed, and so I have no tax number with tax authorities, and all the communication I receive is in the name of my mom or dad.
Okay.
And there is an addition from the same person that I don't receive utility bills either.
Yeah, so with the utility bills, that's fine. Any documents from the government that have your residential address. If they don't have the same residential address on their systems as the one that you live in now, contact one of your government bodies and just update your address and get them to send out some correspondence. Most governments would go and be able to do that. As for the first question, I would put down unemployed for one major reason, is that you're not actually working, you're not bringing in any income, and you're not also having to go and pay taxes to your corresponding tax office. So for that particular question, I would go and put in unemployed, or I would go and put in other and actually go and state what the situation is. Just explain it in the box. Okay, Olga, Any more rogue questions coming out?
There are similar questions in the English room and in the Russian room. So two people are saying that they don't receive any responses from the support team.
Have they been emailed? So that they've emailed support, but they haven't received correspondence from support yet. Is that
Yes.
Quite likely, yes. So they contacted the support service.
Okay. Well, that's not cool. If they were to go and check all of their email, all the email inboxes in the email that they registered, or jump onto their global unit pay account and see if there's any correspondence with support, which should go and highlight as, any number above 0. If it is at 0, then that's something that I'll need to go and address with Marshall, Valentin, and the support team to actually make sure that they're not losing any correspondence, which sincere apologies if that's the case. But yeah, do check your email address, check all the boxes. If it's not in there, check your global unit pay account, make sure that there hasn't been any correspondence received by support.
And this lady just clarifying that it's been 4 months, there is no reply. So I gave her your email. Can we have a last question from the Italian chat?
Yeah, sure.
So how can I move units from my back office in average into our global unit pay system?
That is super easy, okay? Depending on what country that you're in, though. Okay, so for some countries, we can't yet go and sync our back office with global unit pay by moving, our units into GUP. The reason being is that there are still offices back from when we were doing the EIPs that have funds in the account that need to go and be exhausted first. So there is correspondence in the Academy of a Private Investor tab that goes and specifies what countries need to go and do those withdrawals. You can speak with support about it in the Academy of a Private Investor tab, and they are able to go and walk you through it. Otherwise, if you speak to one of your your country council members, they'll be able to go and walk you through those forms, I would imagine. But if you live in a country that isn't specified out of those 6 or 7, then it's super easy to go and sync up your global unit pay account with your back office. All you'll need to go and do is click either withdraw or if withdraw funds in the wallet tab of either your Everrich or Academy of a Private Investor, wherever your commissions actually are, or your bonuses are. And then from there, just select global unit pay, and then that will go and transfer into your global unit pay account. They'll go and ask for your unique user ID just to go and pair it. But once that's done, it happens like that. I hope that goes and answers the question. Okay.
So to recap, 2 options, either directly or through the local API or local company, right? There are options there.
Okay, so it depends on the country that they're in. So the best way to go and see is to go into the Academy of a Private Investor tab. And when you go to wallet, click withdraw funds, and it will go and say what sort of transfer is available. If you live in a country that doesn't match any of the transfer options, that means that you can go and sync up your global unit pay account. From there, transfer your bonuses from the Academy of a Private Investor tab into your EvoRich tab, and then go into wallet in your EverRich tab, go to withdraw funds, select global unit pay. It will go and ask you for your unique user ID, and it'll go straight through. Okay. Awesome. I'm going to call it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for your attention, and thank you so much for your time this evening. I will be back next week on Wednesday, the 23rd of June. Marshall will be here tomorrow doing the business presentation. He gets all the exciting stuff. So he gets all the exciting content. Otherwise, do stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe, and shine on. Thank you so much for your time, guys. Take care, and we'll see you next week.